Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, ma'am.
We were discussing about the 3 divisions. We already completed the first 2 divisions coming under plant kingdom, and we started with the third one, that is, which is the one which we were discussing? Nia?
Pteridophytes.
Pteridophytes. Which are the other 2, Nivin? Which are the other 2 we completed?
Mosses and
Which are the 2 main divisions we completed before pteridophytes?
bryophytes.
Bryophytes and the first one. Steffi, which was the first one we completed?
Algae.
Algae, other name is Thallophyta. So we completed Thallophyta, Bryophyta, and we started with Pteridophyta. And when compared to Bryophytes, there is one main difference between Bryophytes and Pteridophytes. What was that? Naureen, one major difference we mentioned.
They possess vascular tissues.
Yes. Then?
The dominant phases.
Which one possesses vascular tissues?
Pteridophytes.
Pteridophytes, they have vascular tissues. Sania, another difference.
The main feature in the main phrases sporophytes and pteridophytes. In bryophytes, it's gametophytes.
Okay. Which is the other point, Vidur? Other point we have learned about pteridophytes. 2 points already told. Naureen told that they are having well-developed vascular tissues, and Sania told their predominant plant body is sporophyte. Then, apart from that, one more important feature is there. Which is that? Vidur?
Ma'am, they are differentiated into true roots.
Very good. True
roots, stems and leaves.
Very good.
They
so that yes. Okay. So that is what we learned about pteridophytes. And did we learn about the uses of pteridophytes? That also was covered. Nandana, tell me the 3 uses we discussed about pteridophytes.
Some pteridophytes, they have medicinal value.
Yes.
Some are used as ornamental plants.
Yes. One more point.
And some have soil, they are used as soil binders.
Very good. So we'll continue with pteridophytes. Okay. So the next, what we are going to learn is about its method of reproduction. So how they are reproducing. So the sporophytes, so as we said in the case of all the other plants coming under this particular kingdom or under plant kingdom, we learned that here there is alternation of generations between the sporophytic phase and the gametophytic phase. So here the sporophytes, they are provided with structures known as sporangia. Singular is sporangium. So sporophytes, they'll bear or they'll produce sporangia that are subtended by leaf-like appendages known as sporophylls. So subtended by leaf-like appendages means on the lower surface of these leaf-like structures, you can find sporangia. And leaf-bearing, these sporangia are known as sporophylls. Sporophylls are leaf-like structures which contain these sporangia. So inside the sporangium, spores will be produced. And when we discussed about ferns in our previous class, I told you that if you are keeping a leaf of a fern on your hand, it will leave an imprint on your hand. Wherever you are keeping it, you will get a white imprint on that part of your body. That is because of the spores. It is present on the lower surface of the leaf. Okay, present on the lower surface of the leaf, these sporangia are present. Inside that, spores will be produced, and once these sporangia break open, spores will be white, powdery spores will be released. So once again, the sporophytes, they bear sporangia. And where are these sporangia present? They are present on the lower surface of the leaf-like structures known as sporophylls. Appendages, last class Steffi had asked me the doubt. Appendages means some projections. Here they, and even in paramecium and amoeba, Pseudopodia also, Pseudopodia and cilia found in them, you can call them as appendages, which helps in locomotion. So here the appendages means some structures. And even for projections, you can say as appendages. So these leaf-like appendages known as sporophylls contain sporangia where spores are produced. And here in this picture, you can see a structure known as a cone-like structure can be seen. This is known as strobilus. Strobilus or cone-like structure can be found in case of some plants like Selaginella and Equisetum. And in both cases, you can see strobili. And in Selaginella, you can find slightly different in its structure. But here also you can see some cone-like structures. You call it as strobili. Now let's see what are these strobili. In some cases, the sporophylls, they form some distinct compact structures known as strobili. We even call them as cones. Okay, once again, in some cases, instead of sporangium, the sporophylls will be having some special compact cone-like structures. You call them as strobili. Strobilus, L-U-S is for singular and strobili for plural. Example for such pteridophytes are Selaginella and Equisetum. In Selaginella and Equisetum, they will have, the sporophylls will have some distinct structures, compact, very concise structures known as cones or strobili. Okay, now coming to the methods of reproduction or how spores are being produced. So already we learned about strobili and also sporangia. In some plants it will be sporangium and in some it will be strobili. So whatever is the case, they will be producing spores. So spores, within the sporangia, there are spore mother cells. Inside the sporangia, spore mother cells are there. It is these spore mother cells which undergo meiotic division to produce spores. And throughout you had been learning what will happen to these spores. The spores will germinate and they form gametophyte. So here also these spores will germinate and they will form inconspicuous, means not very prominent. Not very clearly visible, not very distinct or prominent, small, multicellular, free-living, photosynthetic thalloid. So in thalloid itself, you can understand that in gametophyte, you cannot distinguish the parts clearly. Known as...
Ma'am.
See, somebody has not muted your microphone. Sania, what is your doubt?
Ma'am, can you explain the role of small mother cells once again?
Okay, I'll tell. Okay, so what I was saying is about sporangium. So inside the sporangia are structures present in sporophylls. Leaf-like appendages known as sporophylls. They contain spore-producing bodies known as sporangium. So inside the sporangium is made up of certain cells. So inside the sporangium also you can see so many cells, and some of these cells get differentiated and they form spore mother cells. And the spore mother cells, they will, why we are calling as spore mother cells? Because they undergo division and produce spores. So these spore mother cells present inside the sporangium undergo meiotic division and they will produce spores. And these spores, they will germinate. So far we had been learning the spores will germinate and form gametophyte. Here also the same thing happen. The spores which are produced by the sporangium, they will germinate and they will produce gametophyte. But here in pteridophytes, there are some specialities for this gametophyte. They will be inconspicuous, means not very prominent. They'll be small. And they'll be multicellular, free-living. They are not attached to any other or dependent on sporophyte. They are free living and they will be green in color. So they can carry out photosynthesis, yet it is a thalloid, not in the beginning itself I told inconspicuous, not very prominent, and the structures are not very clear in this. That is why we call it as a thalloid structure. And this gametophyte with all these features found in pteridophyte, you call it as prothallus. So what is prothallus? Prothallus is the gametophyte developed by the germination of spores in pteridophytes. And what are the features? They'll be inconspicuous, small, multicellular, free-living, and photosynthetic. And from the term they are photosynthetic, you will understand they are green in color and they are capable of carrying out photosynthesis. Sania, is it clear? Sania,
Yes,
Sania, about the spore mother cells, I think so far we haven't mentioned. That is why you had a confusion. So inside the sporangium, some cells get differentiated and they form spore mother cells, and the division, the meiotic division will be carried out by them and they'll produce the spores. And spores germinate and produce gametophyte. And here what we need to remember is that here the gametophyte form, we call it as prothallus. And the features are, they are multicellular, free-living, small, inconspicuous, green in color, photosynthetic, and it is a thallus. Thalloid structure means no proper differentiation. As such, it is very inconspicuous. So here again you can see an enlarged view of prothallus, somewhat heart-shaped or structure. Okay. Then the prothallus, it requires cool, moist, damp, shady places. They always prefer some moist and wet places or cool or shady places for their growth. And just like we said in the case of bryophytes, here also, if fertilization should happen, water is essential. So water is very important to carry out fertilization. If there is no enough water for the male gametes to reach the female gamete, fertilization cannot take place. So as water is a very significant factor to carry out fertilization, the spread of pteridophytes can be limited by the presence of water, and so they can be limited to a few regions, narrow geographical regions, which means that it is not found widespread in different parts. The reason is only where they have enough water to carry out fertilization only they can multiply, they can thrive well over there. But if water is scarce, if water is lacking over there, they cannot carry out it properly. And as a result, in such places, they cannot flourish. And you can find them only in narrow geographical regions. Only in limited areas you can see. The reason is water, the presence of water. Water acts as a limiting factor in the spread of pteridophytes. Where water is sufficient, where it is having sufficient water to carry out fertilization, they thrive well there. But if water is deficient, definitely they cannot survive. The gametophyte or prothallus, they produce male and female sex organs. So sex organs also, the name remains the same. Antheridium and archegonium. Antheridium for the male sex organ and archegonium for the female sex organs. So I'll repeat these points once again from the previous slide. I'll repeat once again. We started with this sporophylls. Sporophylls are found in case of Selaginella and Equisetum, sporophylls, they form some special structures known as cones or strobili, but normally they will be in the form of some sporangia present on the lower surface of sporophylls. And in some cases like Selaginella and Equisetum, they form strobili or cones, and sporangia inside the sporangia, some cells get differentiated and they form spore mother cells. They undergo meiotic division and produce spores, and these spores will germinate into gametophyte. You call it as prothallus. The prominent features of this prothallus are they are inconspicuous, they are small in size, green in color, multicellular, free living, and thalloid. And then we learned that the prothallus requires very cool, damp, and shady places. And since they require water for fertilization, water can act as a limiting factor, preventing their distribution widespread. And they are found only in limited areas. And prothallus can have both male and female sex organs, antheridium and archegonium. This already we mentioned, water is essential, and as you already learned in the other groups, antheridium will produce antherozoids and archegonium will produce egg. So water is very essential. We already told that water acts as a limiting factor. Why water acts as a limiting factor? Because water is essential for the movement of this male gametes to the mouth of archegonium. Antherozoids should move and reach the mouth of the archegonium. Then it has to move inside and has to fuse with the egg. And male and female gamete, upon fusing, definitely zygote will be formed. And the zygote develops into sporophyte. This same thing, we are repeating the same thing in pteridophytes also. Sporophyte will produce spores. Spores will germinate and produce gametophyte. Gametophyte bear sex organs. They produce male and female gametes. And these gametes fuse and form zygote. Zygote will develop into sporophyte. Have you understood till here?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So who is going to brief about what we learned just now? Let's start with Anthony. Anthony, where do you find sporangia in pteridophytes? Where are sporangia present? Unmute and speak. Where are sporangia found?
Leaf-like.
On the lower surface of leaf-like appendages. What do you call those leaf-like appendages?
Sporophyll.
Very good, sporophylls. Okay, then continue, Rijaz. Next point. In certain plants, instead of sporangia, what do they have?
Sporophylls form distinct combat structures called strobili.
Strobilus or cones, or strobili or cones. And then Nandana, what else we learned? What happens to the spores produced? Or how are spores produced?
Spores are produced by differentiated cells in the sporangia called spore mother cells.
Which division they carry out?
Meiotic division.
Okay, then Nia, continue. After that?
Spores germinate and form prothallus.
Okay. Now, Michael, tell me some features of the prothallus.
They require cool, dark places to grow.
Okay. Characteristic features, morphological features.
They're...
About the body structure, I'm asking.
I'm not sure.
Why you're not sure? We repeated twice or thrice. I'll come back to you. Punya?
They are free-living, photosynthetic.
Then, free-living, photosynthetic.
They have specific requirements for growth.
Not all the points. Nevin, can you add?
They are inconspicuous.
They are inconspicuous. And what all points Punya said? They are photosynthetic and free-living. Then inconspicuous. Multicellular. Then multicellular. All the points. They have got a thalloid structure. Okay. Michael, sum up all the points.
They're photosynthetic, free-living.
They are photosynthetic.
Free-living.
Free-living.
Inconspicuous.
Inconspicuous, not very prominent. Then multicellular and thalloid. Okay, then what else we learned? Evelyn, after that what we learned? Spores are produced. Till there we learned. Now what will happen to these spores?
Spores will germinate.
Spores will germinate and form?
Forms.
Correct?
Gametophyte.
Correct only. Spores will germinate and form?
Gametophyte.
Gametophyte. And Nidhi, tell me the features of gametophyte.
They are they need water for fertilization. They are limited narrow geographical regions.
Okay. Then what do they contain? Gayatri, what do the prothallus contain?
They contain
prothallus is a gametophyte. So what they will have?
Gametes.
Who produces the gametes? Which part produces the gametes?
Like anthroid and archegonium.
Antheridium and archegonium. Malavika, what do antheridium and archegonium produce?
Antheridium produce androzoids and archegonium produce eggs.
Eggs. And then what happens, Steffi? Once the gametes are produced, next what happens?
They forms the zygote.
They'll fuse and form zygote. But for this fusion, what is essential? What is essential for the male gametes to reach female gametes?
Water.
Water. Steffi, what is necessary?
Water.
Water. And then upon fusing, they'll form a zygote, and zygote develops into, Donna, zygote will develop into?
Sporophyte.
Okay, we'll continue. Okay, so zygote will develop into sporophyte. Now, majority of the pteridophytes, in most of the pteridophytes, they will produce single kind of spores, same type of spores. All the spores produced will be similar. In such a case, you call them as homosporous plants. So what are homosporous plants? The plants which produce one kind of spores. You know that spores are produced by the sporophylls, or the sporangium bearing sporophylls will produce spores, and these spores should germinate and it has to form a gametophyte. So two types of spores are produced in certain plants, and in some plants they will produce only one type of spores. If all the spores produced are identical, such plants you call it as homosporous. And on the other side, some of the plants like Selaginella, Salvinia, they'll produce two types of spores. So two types of spores, if they are producing, then you call them as heterosporous. Hetero means different or other. So heterosporous means homo, same, similar. Homosporous and heterosporous. In homosporous plants, only one type of spores are produced, whereas in heterosporous plants, two types. And these are named megaspores or macrospores, same meaning. Macrospores and microspores. Macrospores, you can even call it as megaspores. So I'll repeat once again. In pteridophytes, some of the plants, they produce only one type of spores. If they are producing a single type of spores, then you call them as same, homosporous. But if they are producing two different kinds of spores, then you can call them heterosporous. And the two categories, two types of spores they produce are known as macrospores and microspores. Now let's see what is the function of, or what are the functions of these spores. So mega or macro, that means bigger. Micro means small. Megaspores, you know, both spores. Spores as such, we have learned, they will germinate to form gametophyte, the next phase in their life cycle. That is the duty of spores. spores are produced by sporophytes, and these spores will germinate and produce the next phase, which is known as gametophyte. Megaspores or macrospores will germinate, the bigger one, they will germinate and form female gametophyte, whereas the smaller one will produce male gametophyte. Smaller ones form male gametophyte and the larger ones will form female gametophyte. Don't get confused. Smaller one male and bigger one female. Macro or megaspores will form female gametophyte and smaller ones or microspores will form male gametophytes. And the female gametophytes, they will be, if a female gametophyte, suppose if it is a heterosporous plant, and if female and male gametophytes are formed, the female gametophyte will be retained on the sporophyte, not permanently. For some time, the female gametophytes can be retained on the parent plant. And inside the female gametophyte, you know, it is inside the female gametophyte that zygotes are formed. Why we said it is inside the female gametophyte? It is inside the female gametophyte, the archegonium or the female sex organ is present. It is inside the archegonium that the egg is formed. Egg is not mobile, it is stationary. So male gametes or the antherozoids will reach the female gametes and fuse with that. So it happens inside the female gametophyte. And once fusion happens, it will result in the formation of what forms when male and female gametes fuse?
Zygote.
Zygote. And these zygotes formed will gradually develop into young embryos. So when, I think in 9th standard, you have learned about seed formation. So first, you know that these embryo formation takes place and the ovule get converted to seed and ovary into fruit. You have learned in angiosperms. But here no seed formation takes place, but still you can notice the formation of young embryos in this. And this is considered to be a precursor to the seed habit. The next generation or the next type of plant, the higher plants are having seeds. So this could have been the beginning of that particular stage. So this formation of young embryos from the zygotes is considered as a precursor of the seed habit, even though pteridophytes are not bearing seeds. As we come to the higher plants, they are seed bearing. And that is very important, considered to be a very important step in evolution. So I'll just repeat it quickly once again. So in the previous slide, we learned about pteridophytes producing 2 types of spores and some producing single type of spores. If only 1 type of spores are produced, you call it as homosporous. And if 2 types are produced, we call it as heterosporous, and they produce macrospores and microspores. Macrospores will develop into female gametophyte and microspores will develop into male gametophyte. Smaller one becomes male gametophyte, larger one becomes female gametophyte. And the female gametophyte can be retained on the parent sporophyte for some time. For some variable period means it depends on the species, but not permanently, but for some time it can remain attached. And inside the female gametophyte, archegonium is present, and it is inside the archegonium that the female gamete or egg is formed. So the motile antherozoids will enter the female gamete to fuse with the egg, forms a zygote, and they develop into young embryos. And this is very important. It is considered to be a very important event since it is considered as a precursor of the seed habit. And this is considered to be a very important step in evolution. These plants might have gradually evolved to form the higher plants which are having the ability to produce seeds. And notice the picture, children, Selaginella heterosporous, whereas one example for a plant that produces single spores is Lycopodium. Lycopodium produce single spore, single type of spores, not single spore, one type of spore, similar kind of spores. Whereas Selaginella can produce two different types of spores. Is that clear, children?
Ma'am.
Yes? Anything to be repeated? Anything to be repeated? If you say no, that means you should answer all my questions. Okay?
Ma'am,
Oh.
what is the seed habit? Can you please say that again?
Seed habit. See, in these plants, I told you that once fusion takes place, fusion just like in any other case, male and female gamete fuse together and results in the formation of a zygote. Okay? And this zygote, here you can see in pteridophytes, you can see the formation of an embryo here. In the other cases, we didn't mention. In the previous groups, we didn't mention about that. But here, in pteridophytes, you can find a transition of the zygote into embryo. Okay, but in the case of angiosperms and all, they are seed bearing. In them, proper seed with a embryo inside is found, which can grow into a new plant. Even though pteridophytes are not producing seeds, here you can find the formation of a young embryo. This indicates that the seed habit in higher plants like angiosperms might have evolved from these or might have been developed from pteridophytes. There the beginning was there and gradually evolution took place, and in higher plants they started to produce seeds. Here these are spore bearing. Okay, but in higher plants like flowering plants, angiosperms, they produce seeds. But in the lower groups it is absent, it is not present. But here in pteridophytes you can see that formation of embryo. So that is considered as a precursor of the seed habit, which is highly developed in other plants like angiosperms. Clear, Gayatri?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
So who is going to brief what we have learned? Who didn't get a chance? Malavika? We started with the formation of spores.
Some pteridophytes produce similar kind of spores, and they're
Okay.
known as homosporous plants. And some produce different kinds. They are heterosporous.
What are the two types of spores produced?
Megaspores and microspores.
Very good. Lydia, tell me what is the role of mega and microspores?
Megaspores to female gamete.
Gametophyte. And micro?
Micro male.
Be sure about your answer. Once again, confidently.
Mega female.
Louder, Lydia. Your answer is correct. Mega?
Mega female gamete.
Gametophyte. And micro?
Male gametophyte.
Okay. Now, where is the fertilization taking place? In which gametophyte? Vidur, where is fertilization taking place? In which gametophyte?
Female gametophyte.
Why? Why in female gametophyte? What is there in the female gametophyte? What is there inside the female gametophyte?
Eggs.
Egg. So male egg. Can egg move? Is it motile? Whether can the egg move or the sperms move?
Sperms, I think so. Sperms.
Sperms move.
Egg
So they will
move.
move and reach the female gamete. What for? To carry out? Which process happens inside? If male and female gamete fuse together, Vidur, what is the process called? What is the process of fusion of male and female gamete? Starting with the F.
Fertilization.
Fertilization.
Yes, fertilization. What is that, Vidur? Give me the definition for fertilization. Fusion of?
Gametes.
Which all gametes? Clearly you say. Fusion of?
Fusion of male and female gametes.
Results in what? Results in what? If male and female gametes fuse together, what does that form? Z, starting with Z.
Zygote.
What is there? Why you're forgetting? Okay. Now, what happens to the zygote? Sania, what happens to the zygote?
Zygote forms sporophyte.
Sporophyte. But we said that this is the precursor of seed habit. Which stage is considered to be the precursor of seed habit? Gayatri, you had doubt, no? Tell me.
They form the young embryo.
And this is considered to be?
A precursor of seed habit.
Okay, children. Thank you. See you next class.
Thank you, ma'am.